Is the HMO market saturated? Let's talk about that right now. Hello, my name's Mark Fitzgerald and welcome to the Property Unleashed YouTube channel. Great to have you joining me here. So, is the HMO market saturated? Well, here's the bad news. Yes, it is. It is saturated. Every area has near enough, caveat to that, has HMOs there, okay? But the good news for people looking at getting started with HMOs, for people looking at building a rent-to-rent business through HMOs, is it's saturated with a lot of rubbish. There are some very, very poor products out there in the market now. Caveat to that is there are some very nice products as well. But let me tell you, there's more rubbish out there than there is high-end good stuff. And now, as you watch this video in this day and age, we need to be looking at being high-end. Now, everybody says with high-end comes high costs. I don't have that much money to put into my HMOs. I'm looking at building a rent-to-rent business, but I don't have thousands and thousands of pounds to put into refurbishments to bring these properties up. I'm here to tell you that you don't have to do that, okay? At the end of the day, if you're working with a landlord and you're looking at bringing their property up to a good standard, they want to be putting money into their own asset, into their own properties. I've spoken about this on other videos as well, but it really is about making sure that they know that once they've spent the money and got it to a good standard, that you will maintain that standard for them and you won't let it slip. So that if you do a 5-year agreement with them, after 5 years, they're going to get their property back in pretty much the same standard that they gave it to you, or better. And that's what we always want to be aiming for, or a bit better. Of course, if you own HMOs and you're thinking to yourself, well, at the end of the day, I'm making decent money, reasonable money, but I can't afford to, pump another 5 to 10 grand into the properties to try and get them to high levels. You can do this very, very cost effectively, okay? It doesn't have to cost thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds to do so. Just under £1,000, you can actually make an HMO look so much better than a bog standard one, just by dressings, pictures, colors, furniture. And it doesn't have to be brand new furniture. It can be secondhand. If you get creative with things, there's some fantastic designs out there. If you go on to apps like Pinterest and have a look at what people are doing, then you check out Facebook Marketplace or what people are trying to throw away or give away, you can really dress properties and make them look quite swanky for high-end co-livings. Now, of course, you can go out there, buy everything brand new if you've got the funds and the money and you haven't got the time to mess about like this. But even like light fittings that are hanging down off the ceiling that are standard white wires and stuff. If you've got a bit of black spray paint and you just sprayed those all blacks, stuff, all of a sudden, you've got a real designer looking light in your kitchen, front room, dining room, bedrooms. All of a sudden it makes a massive difference, and it probably only costs you a tenner to do or 15 quid to do. So it can be very, very cost effective. But make sure that you are a cut above the rest, okay? At the end of the day, with the hikes in utility prices and things like that, people said to me, you're going to go out of business, Mark, with your rent-to-rent business because utilities have gone up and are going to take all your profits. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of the properties that I had, it did cut all of my profits, and I had to use the break clause that we have in the contracts and hand the properties back because the landlords didn't want to renegotiate the prices, which is their prerogative and stuff. They were quite happy to either renegotiate or to let us work with them to make the properties a higher standard. And that's what we did. We made them a higher standard. We increased the rents, but likewise to that, we didn't just increase rents and expect everybody to be happy. We made the properties a little bit swankier, a little bit better, a bit more high end. And in turn, some of the tenants didn't like it and left, but a majority stayed and actually appreciated the fact that they were living in better conditions, that they were living with better class tenants as well, because people who spend a bit more tend to be, a bit more inclined to look after things and stuff like that, and appreciate things a bit more. Not everybody, but most people do. So it really did work well for us. And I was very concerned when we started doing this, but I just thought, if we add some tellies to the rooms and we make them look nice and things, and then we add, potentially a 9 to 11% increase in the rents, Will we still get people coming in and wanting to live in the properties? And I'm happy to say we did. So this can work really, really well for you in your areas and stuff. Just make sure that you're staying at that high level. So of course, big cities are saturated with HMOs and smaller towns are as well. But I've always had a lot more luck in the smaller towns than the bigger cities. Now you need to make sure that you'll buy good transport links and it's easy to get in and out of the cities wherever people are at the end of the day. But a smaller town where potentially you could be by a little town centre which has got, you know, a shopping precinct or, you know, plenty of businesses around there or factories and things can work really, really well. And not everybody's looking at those. For help on all of these sort of topics and tools and resources, please visit thepropertyunleashed.com. where we have free tools and resources. We have, of course, the Property Unleashed podcast, Property Unleashed YouTube channel, and we're always adding new free ebooks, deal analyzing spreadsheets, anything like that that you can download for free, that you can use and incorporate into your own property business, and it can help you get the results you want. And of course, we have the Rent-to-Rent Business Builder, which will take you from complete novice to rent-to-rent business in HMOs, or we have the Ultimate Serviced Accommodation Business Builder as well, which will take you from complete novice to building a six-figure serviced accommodation business in 4 different strategies as well, which sets it apart from everybody else. But make sure that whatever you're doing, you're looking to be the best in your area, the best in your business, okay? And it doesn't, as I said before, have to cost you the earth. So if you can set your properties up to be very cost effective, you can make them sort of high-end co-living properties as well, you will attract, you know, good tenants. So really have a look in your area and see what sort of tenants that you want to be working with. What's the tenant type? Now, no point, caveats to all of this, no point in doing big high-end HMOs if it's an area that really you're not going to attract those types of tenants. So you do need to get your area right. And as I say, you can spend all the money, you can make the properties as nice as you like. If it's not in an area that will attract people to live in that type of property, then don't do it. Keep it nice, clean, tidy, and everything that, you know, your market needs. But don't go crazy, don't go silly spending loads of money on something if you can't get the people into the area. You've got to know your market at the end of the day. You need to know your customer. So make sure in the areas that you're looking to work in, whether this is for serviced accommodation or whether this is for HMOs, that you know the pockets and the clientele and the tenant type that you want to be using. And what I used to do and still have, I don't do it now because I already have it, is I used to have a map of my area and I used to circle with different colours the tenant types that I thought that lived in those areas, because once you've walked the streets and you know the people there, you could say, you know, orange is factory workers, you know, blue could be you know, professionals at the end of the day, and grey could be students and stuff like that. So you can easily look at the map and think, right, well, I've got a phone call or I'm looking at a property in these areas. I know the tenant type for these areas because I've already done my homework. That's great. So it needs to look like this. For students, we need to look like this, co-living, everything fresh, they love it. For professionals, it needs to be a bit more higher end. We want some tellies in the rooms and things like that. Or factory workers that really just want to go to sleep. They just want to put their head down, go to sleep. They're not bothered about too much. We need to make sure that it's fresh, it's nice, and we always want to be looking to be the best that we can be for our customer types. Serviced accommodations, again, the same. Know your customers. If it's families that are coming to stay with you, you've got everything there that they would need, high chairs, all of those sort of things. If it's corporate clients, you know, people, have you got your Nespresso machines, things that make life nice and easy for people and stuff like that. So I would definitely say try and get a map of the areas that you're looking at operating in. Get yourself a little colour scheme that suits you, and then start mapping it out with the color scheme. You're never going to get it right first time, but if you walk in the areas and as you start to get more units and you start to work with more people and you start to have more customers, you will be able to really pinpoint those, have a little map maybe on your wall, and then, like I say, as soon as you're looking at a deal, you're like, I know what works here. I know it's going to cost me X amount to make it into that sort of spec, and it's not going to cost me a massive amount because I'm always looking at trying to do it as cheap as possible. possible. And of course, if you get in there with the right investor, if you get in there with the right landlord, you can even go there and say, listen, for 1,500 quid, we can get this property to a really good level. This is what we've done in the past, or this is how I've been shown how this is done in the past, and this is what we're going to do for you. And a lot of the times, if you can go there and show them and show people this, show them how they can make a bit more money themselves as well by doing this with you, they're more inclined to pay for it all to be done. So you don't necessarily have to find all of that money yourself. And this is something that I show my clients, my one-to-one students, the people on the Rent-to-Rent Business Builder program as well, how to do. It's all about making sure that it's a win-win for everybody. By going out there, investors putting a bit of money into their properties, but we're going to manage, maintain their properties to a really high standard, so their assets being looked after. They're making their money, we're making our money, and the assets being looked after. And best of all, our tenants, our clients, whoever's staying in our properties are getting a really, really nice place to stay. So we don't want to be scrimping, but equally, we don't want to be spending thousands and thousands of pounds on other people's properties. Now, if it is your property, then just invest in stuff that is going to last. So things that will really be hardware, and don't just go and buy cheap furniture that's going to fall apart really quickly. You know, if you can find a good carpenter that can come in and you've got a little nook or cranny in one of the bedrooms, you can make it into potentially a built-in wardrobe. Spend that bit extra and get that wardrobe and stuff built in there. Why? Because in the long run, it'll last forever, so to speak. It'll last so much longer than a cruddy, cheap IKEA or landlord's furniture wardrobe that will rock around and the doors will fall off within a couple of years and you'll be replacing it. It'll cost you a couple hundred quid every couple of years. This might cost you 500 quid, but might last 10 years and will look so much better. It'll look high end, and that's the look and the feel that you want to be given. So go for your co-living. Make sure you know your tenant types, or you know your customer types, depending on whether you're doing HMOs or serviced accommodation. Make sure you know this, plan this out, plot this out so that you know what you've got in your areas. If you need any help with this, feel free to reach out to us on social media. Feel free to leave a comment below. And of course, keep checking us out, because we put 2 videos out each week, put 2 podcasts out each week. What goes around comes around, and by me helping you in life, that comes back to me tenfold anyway. So it's all about working together and helping each other. We have investment opportunities. If somebody wants to park some money somewhere, we have great opportunities there, and we're more than happy to talk to people about that. And if you are interested in any of our training products, again, do reach out to myself or the team, and we are more than happy to talk and answer any of your questions. My students are getting fantastic results of building property businesses that they desire, and are really, really making a difference in not only their lives, but their kids' lives and their family lives and stuff like that as well. So it's great to see. Remember to have your vision, know what it is you want to be doing and chasing, have the goals, break those down into bite-sized chunks and take action on those every day. You take care, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Bye for now.